there's ROI, which is just straight up cash on cash. And there's ROTI, which is return on time invested.
All too often I get people, I want to buy Burr, I want to buy flips, I want to do this. Don't flip from out of state. You're going to lose a crap ton of money. Everybody that's flipped out of state that I know has lost a crap ton of money. I no longer represent clients from out of state that want to flip properties. I don't want to watch you lose. And I know that you're going to lose inevitably.
I'm getting calls. Hey, my insurance jacked up 2 times. I got to go to Indy. All right. Welcome back to another Roots podcast where we help people plant roots and build wealth. I'm here with Max Moore. It's just an intimate, we're on a date today. You ready for this?
It's an internal boys only episode, which honestly, if you look at our YouTube, that's all people care about because nobody's watched episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Nick's has been straight up.
Nick's actually just did surpass the first episode, but come on, guys, we got some cool guests on, and we're trying to get these schedules
People
together.
Love the boys.
They just like the boys, so we're giving it to you. We're giving you what you like.
Yeah. So as I was on the way here, I was actually listening to another podcast, which was the Indy REI podcast with Jeremy Tallman, who runs T&H, which is probably the biggest property management company in the greater Indy area. And he had a special guest, which was you. So I listened to your beautiful voice on the way here. It was actually better than I expected. No offense. I wasn't expecting it to be a turd, but it was like really good. Like I was learning so much from the both of you. And the topic was on, can you actually cash flow in the Midwest or in Indy? And the answer was, I'll kind of cut to the chase with it. The answer was essentially, you can still build wealth in real estate, but it's going to look different than it did 2 decades, even a decade ago. But I guess where I would love to jump in is, how do you think about investment real estate right now with what we're trying to build with Roots? It's hard to cash flow.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. How do you think about kind of some of that stuff with what we're trying to build with Roots in building wealth?
Yeah, it was fun to chat with Jeremy because we have 2 wildly different perspectives. He jumped in the early 2000s, and I was just being born in the early 2000s, maybe even like conceived when he bought his first rental. So I'm 25 years behind his portfolio, and he's like, can you cash flow? And I'm like, well, in 2016, maybe, but like I wasn't buying houses then. Ever since 2023, when I started buying houses, no, you can't really cash flow. Which led to, okay, wait, what does cash flow actually mean? Because if I go buy in cash, sure, I'll be raking in, the commission check, or not the commission check, too used to being an agent.
That's got to be illegal. No,
yeah.
We are agents. We can do that.
But raking in the rent check every month, yeah, sure, you'll get a dividend on your investment. And that's what I always like to go back to is like, if I invest in Target stock, okay, we'll promote some Target stock here. I own some. Anytime my wife spends money at Target, I buy the same exact money in stock. Fun fact. I own a lot of Target stock. And
did not know that about you.
Target pays dividends quarterly on my investment, and the wealth and equity in Target stock increases. That's how I view real estate. The thing about real estate, though, is it's less volatile and it does not go down as much. Currently negative on Target stock, right? But I'm not selling it or like getting rid of it because I'm still getting those dividend checks. That's a really funny way of saying when you invest, it's all about time. And people try to press that fast forward button. They're like, give me wealth now. Well, if you have a lot of cash, sure, you can go buy some wealth. But if you don't, you've got to play the long game.
So, and I said I didn't want to go into the 5 profit centers
I know.
of
And I
real estate, and I'm going straight in.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get there into our day-to-day in building Roots, which is where I want to go, is like, what do you do, Max and Tyler, all day? Do you just fart around on social media? Part of that's maybe. True, but there is tactical, strategical things we're trying to do with clients and with our own portfors, which I want to get into. But the saying was you could cash flow $300 a door in Indy, maybe in 2018.
Right.
Is that gone? I guess I'm just going to frame it up as a question. Is that gone? And then, if so, where's the win?
Right.
In doing it.
I mean, I think we should just promote your Laurel Street house, which is going to be sold by May, and somebody's going to be able to buy it. Laurel Street. If somebody wants to buy that, what do you want to sell it for?
I would love to sell it for 120.
120. We're going to put the link in the bio.
I've ran the numbers at 120.
Or in the description.
It was negative 81 with maintenance. It was self-managed.
Oh, with self-managed.
So I was running at 7% interest.
What's the bed count?
2.
2-1. You could get a Section 8 like HUD Vash in there for $1,400 a month.
Oh, then that's money. We're going to cash flow 150. Life changing.
Right. But You don't turn on the thermostat in the winter and the pipes go and the neighbor calls and says, hey, dude, your house looks like a pontoon boat without a propeller.
Yeah, quick story there. I got a call on Sunday morning, literally drinking my coffee, about to go to church, and there's water gushing out of the front door. And I've now been vacant.
It's not funny. When I got that video, I was like, oh, man, but also kind of laughed at it.
It was like a billboard telling me, sell this property now. And I'm a buy and hold guy, but now I've realized I want to hold the good assets,
right?
Not the shitty backs up to the interstate, Class C, single family, 2-bed. I'm just not interested in holding that particular one.
Right.
So this is a 1031 move.
And you're going to walk away with equity, I presume.
Yeah. I bought it for 80.
Yeah.
I can't lose money on this deal.
And
bought it in 2021.
So that's the win. Where you're at is you bought it in 2021. It's now 2025. You're going to sell it. You're going to walk away with, I don't know, you might pay yourself as a realtor, but I doubt that you're going to pay yourself. And so
I'd just be stealing from Peter to pay Paul.
Right. Right. And so let's, do some quick math. If you sell it for 120, you're probably going to walk away with like 35K in equity.
Thereabout.
That was a 80,000. So you put probably like what, 15, 20 down to buy it.
I had a family member lend me 65, let's call it. And I put 15 in. We bought it in cash.
Nice.
So it was refinanced to buy the Rookwood property, which I don't need to get into all the details.
Right.
But I have a mortgage, but it's probably only 50 to 65% levered.
Got it.
On the as-is value.
So you're going to walk away. You're going to be able to 1031 exchange from that. And the point that I'm getting to is that is the win in real estate. If you pulled up the spreadsheet on that property, I bet you would be negative historically. I don't think that you have eclipsed the amount of equity that you put in originally from cash flow. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't.
Because I owned it for about 1.5 years outright. It's positive cash flow. If it was levered 80%, it would guaranteed be negative thousands of dollars.
Eclipse the 15, 16,000 that you put into it in the beginning.
Right.
But walking away, it does, because you get that 15 to 16 back and you can move that forward into a nicer, better asset. But to break into real estate, which is what we help people do on a daily basis, you had to buy Laurel Street at $80,000 with 15K down and 60K levered from a family.
In the red first investment is a short way of saying what you're saying.
And you got smart buying that. Yes, pain in the butt for like a moment, but actually that property wasn't bad. The whole way through. Except
insurance paid me too for the pipe burst. So
you just somehow get these freaking insurance claims that I've never seen anyone be able to get.
I mean, it should be covered. It was a pipe burst, but
this is true.
They found out it wasn't. This is a short aside. They found out it wasn't due to the cold, which I thought I wanted to cover up. Hopefully, I'm not going to get sued. I thought I wanted to cover up the fact that my thermostat was really low, but she said, no, this is a really old pipe. It's actually totally covered by the home.
Nice.
I was like, whoa, that went 360 around in my brain.
Like way too easy to get the insurance.
She was like,
money.
no, this is the shittiest pipe out there. What she basically said to me. And it was covered because they insured it. Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I also would love to do an analysis one day on your portfolio to see how much you've actually paid for insurance compared to how much you've gotten back in claims. Because I think that you're pretty close.
It's pretty close. Insurance is a whole rabbit hole that we probably don't want to go down. It's becoming less coverage. And
pay for your
premium.
insurance, boys.
But it's becoming less coverage now for more premium.
This is
just
true.
Because they lost billions in 2023 with the wildfires. Probably now in 2024 too.
Yeah, they're going to continue to lose. Hurricanes, wildfires. The world is turning upside down as far as natural disasters go. And insurance
invest in Indy.
is also right. So come to the Midwest where you can still make insurance claims on pipes that were not frozen. They were old.
That's my theory. I think a lot of Florida, California, even I saw random states like Pennsylvania have crazy high. I have no clue why Pennsylvania has high insurance. They have like one of the highest. They are calling us. I'm getting calls. Hey, my insurance jacked up 2 times. I got to go to Indy. Mm-hmm. And then where are we pointing them to? I'm pointing them into these new build duplexes.
Yeah.
Which we have 8 under contract. Yeah. Building
there's
brand
actually
new assets.
Like no lots available currently, but we'll get into New Group and we can talk about it. I pulled up their spreadsheet yesterday and I was like, we have 8 pinned and they only have 3 premium lots.
It's funny because I sent it to an investor saying, buy these Arsenal lots. They're gone.
Oh, no, the Arsenal lots are still there. Okay. The premium are still there.
Okay.
As far as like at noon today, they were still there.
Okay.
But maybe
they'll be gone by the end of when this airs, I guarantee.
Yeah, 100%. But they're continuing to cycle lots in. That's why you go buy something like that, though. That's why you go and mobilize into a new group duplex or something similar, because you don't have to worry about the old age. But new group, you have to have at a minimum $105,000 in capital today to be able to buy it.
So it's
unless
you're
a house hacker.
Step A is going to be Little Flower, Christian Park, which you own assets. I still own assets. I will hold a couple of those forever because I like where the neighborhood's going. You can buy $125,000 single family home turnkey, make, 100 or 50, 1,200 is what I meant to say, and rent and cover your mortgage, cover your expenses. Yeah, in 3 years, then you can sell that or refi into a new group.
Right.
That's what I think all of our investors who are calling us, whether local or out of state, how they should think about this is, you say this like it's rolling equity.
Yeah.
Roll your Class C assets
I have a really crappy YouTube video.
assets.
I have a crappy YouTube video that I'll put in the link somewhere to watch, but I was just sitting at my kitchen table. Don't bake me for my video skills. The content is great because what I'm talking about is you take 50, you wait 3 years until it's 75, mobilize it into a better asset, do it again. And then all of a sudden after like 15 years in our city, based on just standard appreciation, you can have like a $600K house owned outright that's cash flowing. That's one way to build. Is it the best way to scale? I don't know. Jury's still out on that. We've had people like Rex Fisher on who he sits at 60% levered across 350 doors. And that's the approach that he does. He's gotten the whiteboard out with us and said, you guys are idiots. Stop trying to pile equity into really good assets and go and leverage. And here's how much you guys could actually own. And we're like, yes, that sounds great until we have 1 week of 7 HVACs go out because we don't have the money on the back burner to be able to go and take care of that. And that's the reality. You alluded to it. You have to go to step one, which is if you're out of state, you come in, you buy in a C-class area that you don't need to cash flow. You put 20, 25% down, great asset, get a great tenant, collect rent checks, do that again and again, build a small portfolio, and then we'll exchange that portfolio into something nicer. And you build up from there and you ride with the rising tide of Indy and the commercial development happening. All too often I get people, I want to buy Burr, I want to buy flips, I want to do this. Don't flip from out of state. You're going to lose a crap ton of money. Everybody that's flipped out of state that I know has lost a crap ton of money. I no longer represent clients from out of state that want to flip properties. It is a hindrance on me. Go talk to Evan from Mainstay. Go buy your flip. Go flip it. And when you get the equity and you're ready to buy a rental property, Roots will take care of you.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want the headache. I don't want to watch you lose. And I know that you're going to lose inevitably. Bird projects, I don't know. We can talk about it. They're just hard to come by. So like if I come by one, I'm going to go do it, right?
Well, I'll share a little bit about what I'm doing with my portfolio, and then I want to hear you. We have similar strategies. The tactical way we're going about it is, I think, vastly different in some ways.
Yeah.
But I did do a Burr. My parents had a HELOC on their house. I said, hey, I'll pay this interest only payment if you let me use this HELOC. They own their house outright. It's worth $1 million. So it was like no brainer for them to lend me 135. Not everyone has that, but you might know someone that does, and did that after seeing that property appraised for 210 and I was in it for 135. I was like, okay, this is how you build equity quick. Adding value is guaranteed the fastest way to build equity quick. It is not without risk, and you do have to leverage early.
Right.
But what I've realized is you may want to get that turnkey first to get your foot in the door, build relationships, which is what I did.
Yep.
First 3, let me make sure. Yeah. First 3 were turnkey rentals. Still hold 2 of them, sold off 1. And then I was like, great, now I have some experience. I know good contractors. I have my agents, which was me, but I have my team, so to speak. Now let's take on some risk and add value. So now what I'm doing to add value is a new group duplex, which will have equity day one because it's new development. You take on risk. It could be worth negative value if you buy it for the wrong price.
No, Tyler had people ready to buy his new group duplex at 3.5% down because they now allow FHA for new group, which has taken... We might have been the ones that burned the bridge on why they didn't take FHA. They've come full circle back around to be like, okay, well, we'll accept those now. But at the time of Tyler buying his duplex for $425, right?
$475.
$475. He had people ready to write offers.
I think I am going to sell it to a client for $550. Like they're
amazing.
Getting ready to put an offer
and
with me as the agent selling it to them.
And to buy a product turnkey like that, there's nowhere else that they can go for that. And
right. So I'm doing that one, and I'm doing this other duplex, which came from a colleague who's in one of our masterminds, had an off-market duplex, email blasted it. I was trying to sell it. Let's sell this. I got into a multiple offer scenario with myself. Another client who was on my newsletter with another agent, which that bit me in the butt, had to consider that, but I didn't. And they put an offer, and I put in an offer. I had to waive my own commission to get in the deal. And we bought that one cash, not cash. I put in a cash offer. This is something to note. You can put in, hey, I want a contingency to do financing just in case. And I wrote that in further conditions. And I was like, I don't actually want to do cash. Hard money, it was stupid. So pivoted to do a DSCR loan for 75% down. That's going to be a value add. Buying for $330 should be worth $450 to $500 because it's in a great area. With that, I'm going to then sell Laurel Street, going back to hopefully pay off half of it. Well, not half, 25% of it as just a principal pay down to be 50% levered in that cash flow, hold that till the sunset goes down because it's in a class A area.
Yeah.
So I want to have 5 to 10, 50% to less levered assets in good areas because the ROTI, return on time invested, Nick Giuliani talks about that all the time. I love that. There's ROI, which is just straight up cash on cash. And then there's ROTI, which is return on time invested, is going to be extremely high on these stable class A areas. That is my new target. So first 3 years, ROI. Now I'm like, okay, built some equity there, did those things. Let's go to ROTI, get these stable cash flowing assets. That's where I'm trying to go. I'm curious though, turning the table to you. I actually don't know, I think fully what your strategy is. You've talked a lot about it. Some of it goes over my head, the rolling equity and all this stuff. Where's your portfolio at? What are you trying to do in that space?
I think most days I don't know what my investing strategy is, which isn't a problem because it just means that I'm going out and I'm just doing it, right? Trying to figure it out. Started with single family residence, my own personal property to live in. Was supposed to be a house hack. At the time, my fiance, now wife, mother of my child, love her dearly, did not want a house hack because she didn't want to live with my friends. We were already moving out of an apartment. I was like, come on, boys, come move into my new house. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, not going to live with them in a 1,000 square foot house in Avon. So we bought that kind of accidentally, turned into a value add because we wrote, 10, 11 offers on properties in 2021. If you were a first-time home buyer in 2021, good luck, buddy. It was hard to buy a house. I had to go off market from a family member who was willing to let us come in. Kind of paid them a premium so they wouldn't go on market. Definitely paid them a premium so they wouldn't go on market. 200. I think the one down the street like a month before sold for 185. I knew nothing. I had no agent.
You were just like, let's get in.
I literally just went to Chase Bank. It was like, how much house can I get and how fast can I get one? And they were like, at that time, 3.05% interest. And they were like, good job, kid. Your grandma put you as an authorized user on one of her credit cards. You have a little bit of credit. Nice. Go buy a $200,000 house.
Wow.
And then we stumbled upon this deal. Went to good old Meridian Title Company. That's how you knew I knew nothing. Sorry, MTC. And Chase Lending, Shots MTC fired. was the team helping me.
No
out.
Agent. No agent, experience.
Just me and family friend on the other side. My parents had experience like buying some rentals, but not a vast amount of experience. But I guess my dad was helping me steward the deal from that angle. Got in, immediately just tore stuff down in the house, went straight to demo mode, LVP flowing throughout, recessed sliding, did all the electrical myself, made it look like a 2021 house. It was like a 1960s house. Mm-hmm. Luckily, she had already done the kitchen, which was the expensive part. So everything else was like 25 grand. It wasn't that bad to be able to renovate. Mm-hmm. Held it until we outgrew the house, planning for pregnancy and also three large dogs. 2 large dogs. Sorry, Chance. Chance is a little tiny dude. But we decided to move to Danville, and we were able to unlock a crap ton of equity from that. And there was this moment where I'm like, do I sell this thing? I called you. I'm like, do I sell it? Because look, I've got like an $890 payment on this thing monthly. It's Avon. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, Pinteresty style home. People are going to actually rent this thing out for like maybe $2,500, which would be great cash flow. There are days I regret not keeping that house. But I was talking to one of my dad's good friends, and he goes, you will hate yourself for not selling it right now. And I said, why? He goes, because every time a tenant calls and messes something up, you put so much hard work into it. It doesn't even matter about the money. You guys slaved on that house. You're going to be like, come on, why did you mess that up? Why'd you break this? And also the roof was about to go out, and the AC unit was super old, and the guy didn't want an inspection that was going to buy it. So whatever, we sold it, got $120K out of it. And I stepped back. I'm like, okay, now it's time to actually buy real estate. And actually buy real estate meant, I didn't know what it meant. I was like, maybe we go the route that you're going, right? Add some value. Maybe we go turnkey. I already had a couple of duplexes with a partnership, and I hated those. Still do, still own them. Section 8 rentals that are like, I mean, the stories go on. Those things are just great stories is what they are. Terrible investments.
They're absolutely.
They are the equivalent of got really excited about real estate and ran through a brick wall to get them, and just went and talked to a ton of people about, I want to buy real estate, help me buy it. And those 2 duplexes that I already owned before building my own actual portfolio is what I kind of preface it with. That's the partnership side of things. Those were all purchased at like $150K. And there's 2 of them, 2 duplexes, $150,000 each. And those were like my 4 units. They sucked. So I want to do the exact opposite. I went and found single families that I knew that I didn't have to go to some sort of subsidized housing, although I think that's important. And I believe in subsidized housing. That's why I still own those 4 units. I wanted something that I could put it on Zillow, and I would have people lining up the street to see it. So I went and found the house that was nicer than every other house on the block. What people tell you not to do, right? Don't buy the nicest house on the block because you're going to get a brick thrown through the window. Check, got the brick thrown through the window. And that's what I bought. And I've been able to rent. I was actually just promoting a property. If it's still on the market when this airs, I'm in trouble. But 1218 North Grant Ave, somebody needs to buy that as a rental. It's right down the street from one of my properties. 3-bed, 2-bath. Could rent for $1,700.
I might have a buyer for that,
and because I own a house that's a 2-1 that I have 1550 on. And I was looking at the rentometer today when I pulled 2-1 in that area. The average median rent was $1,325, but I got $1,550 day 1 after 20 showings on market on Zillow. Those of you who own rentals know how hard it is to get that many showings in one day. I felt bad for the leasing agent that just literally chilled at the house all day. Booking up. So my strategy is put 25% down. I am trying to get as much rent as humanly possible for the unit. I want sticky tenants, the young people that are going to stay there. So far, lease renewals on everything coming up this year. I'm not going to put you having anything on the market. That's no stress. I don't have any capital expenditures because they're turnkey properties, partnering with one of my other clients who does a ton of flips. Although, Hector, I have a bone to pick with you. He covered up a furnace and I had to buy a new furnace, but that's okay. Inspector missed it. I missed it. It is what it is. I'm just kidding. I knew the furnace was old when I bought it. It was the one faux of the house. I thought I had like 2 years on the thing. Blew up December.
It always is quicker.
Always is anything. So I don't know if I answered anything or just told you about houses without addresses.
Well, actually, we have done the same thing. Which is get in where you can, where the spreadsheet looks good. We
literally jump on opportunity.
Jump on the first one that makes sense to you, and you're going to pivot and learn a lot.
What you don't like, that's what it is. You buy 123 Main Street, you hate 123 Main Street, so you go buy 224 Main Street. That's the name of this game until you find something that you fall in love with, that you can articulate the value, the win, and take it to your people. What I found is I love single families that have the long-term appreciation, that have sticky tenants that are the king of the hill, I'll go identify one of those properties, even identify one of the tenants, and just rip off and copy Addison Newall, who we Refinery 46, shout out Refinery 46, in every co-working space that he's about to take over. But that guy, he just buys these single families similar to me. He identifies a tenant, goes, sends it out to his network, and he's like, "Hey, do you want an investment opportunity for the next 2 to 3 years? I'll give you 8% on your money. Give me the down payment."
Yep.
Boom, gets the down payment, wires it to title. And he's able to pay back his investors via cash flow. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to put commission checks anymore.
Yep.
I have friends, family who would leap at the opportunity to diversify, have no time, have no experience, have no guts to go out and do it, which is what I've done with my duplexes. My brother has like no idea what addresses we actually own, but he trusts the process. And shout out Gus. He likes to hear the stories of the crappy.
I love that. So let me ask this: like, how many properties do you want to acquire per year?
I like the idea of going 1 to 2 single families a year. I think at that rate, within 10 years, I could own 10 properties outright, 100%, that are like A-class rentals and amazing. Like buying the C plus transitional areas so that the equity can be built up, take the 1031s, lump them all into 10 really good assets. So basically buy 20, sell half of them, go or sell all of them, buy 10 more.
I think that is the playbook in Indy that we are steering our clients to right now. And some get it. Some want to go flip the sexy, house. And they're getting a hard money loan. They get their gap lender. They're in it and they make 20K and shed tears and blood to do that. Or you can do what you're doing, which is still a hard route, but has a lot more just backing to it, in my opinion.
Right. Well, it has more, as long as the things don't burn down, knock on wood, right? It has a path that has closer to passivity. And what I mean by that is like, yes, it takes time to identify properties. I always underestimate the amount of time that I go to identify properties because we're just immersed in it. We have so many things flying across our desk all the time. So we see a ton of properties. If you are not in this world, not immersed in it, it's really hard to identify properties. I don't know if the high W-2 earner should actually be the one owning rental properties. I talk about this all the time. I think they should be finding a syndication that they know, like, and trust, or a horse that they can bet on when
you're
diversifying
providing
real
that
estate.
Through, hey, give me the down payment. I'll pay you 8%. Passive, no toilet, breaking calls. Still invested in real estate with a promissory note. I'm not sure if you're going to do a lien on the property. There's also that for collateral.
And that's
very safe. Safer than the stock market.
Yeah.
It really is. You have an asset
tied
to it.
And there's proven history to back that up. I think the other thing that I just like skipped over is you have the 20, we have the 20-year-olds, right? That are like, okay, guys, I don't earn high W-2, but I want to break into real estate. I had a call like this morning and I ended the call within 7 minutes. I try to give everybody 30 minutes on an intro call, but I said, hey, we're just going to, for simplicity, say John Smith. John Smith, you don't know real estate right now. You don't. I can already tell in 10 seconds because what you're saying are the words that I was saying when I was 19 years old. So you need to clock in to your job. You need to go earn money. And on March 6th or whenever the next Indy Investor Masterclass is hosted by Roots Realty Co., you need to be there. You need to make 10 connections to go get 10 coffees. And when you end those 10 coffees, you need to ask that person, who should I go meet with next? Boom, schedule it. And you're going to have 100 coffees over the next 100 days. And you're going to learn more than you ever knew that you could learn about real estate. And you're going to go execute on what those people are teaching you. But you're not allowed to buy anything until the 100 days are up or you've had 100 coffees. You're not allowed to go and talk to an agent. You're not allowed to go on showings. You're not allowed to talk to a lender because you need to take the time to educate.
And I love this conversation. I think this is perfect for a newer investor to listen to this conversation. But I think that people sometimes look at where we're at now and they want to be there immediately. I want the Burr duplex. I want the cash flowing single family. But we started with our own home when we were dead broke, got the FHA / the 5% down loan. That's what they have at their disposal is the backing of the federal government. They need to, like you said, invest not maybe in real estate, in themselves.
Right.
Go to the networking events, go to the coffee meetings, hire the really good agent, the Roots agent, and hopefully Roots agent, and house hack / buy a single family.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the duplex that's 350,000. You might be over leveraged doing that house hack. Or maybe you make 100K and you should do that. Maybe it's just the single family home in Brownsburg that has old, disgusting paint that you can paint over in your spare time. And then in 3 years, that's going to be worth 100K in equity.
Right. And in that, I think any lender, because I know a lot of lenders watch this show, especially ones that we partner with, they should be taking that resource and sending it to their clients and saying, hey, I know cousin Joey, you talked about buying a house and I painfully call you all the time like, hey, do you want to get a loan, cousin Joey? I have a good agent. They should send them that and say, this is how you should buy your first house, even if cousin Joey doesn't want to invest in real estate. Because if you're under 25 and you want to buy your first home, you are so far ahead of the curve that you're actually walking into so many bear traps you don't even know ahead. And I wish that somebody would have grabbed me and been like, I get it, you're tired of paying rent, but like, dude, slow down and chill, because I would have entered maybe a different way. I would have bought a duplex and house hacked and been like, Sierra, I love you, but like, we're going to have a tenant living next to us, maybe not in the bedroom down the hall, but next door and built equity
for
that
2
way.
years.
Right.
Like, everyone can sacrifice 2 years early on, even if you have a spouse. That's the thing. Like, yeah, you might have to grow some balls and have that conversation. But if you break down the numbers for them, they're going to be much more receptive. If you can advocate for it, like, why is this good for our marriage? Because when I'm 40, I'll have more time to spend with our kids.
Right.
And I'll still be with you because we'll not have those financial pressures that tear people apart and cause a lot of divorces. Wow, we're going way off the beaten path here. We're saving marriages with Roots Realty Go.
I mean, we are therapists at the end of the day. Legal disclaimer, we are not therapists. Don't come to me. Go to betterhelp.com. Free ad space for BetterHelp. Maybe they'll pay us one day. Anyways, want to switch completely right. We've talked a lot about real estate. I do know that my grandma watches the show and she's probably like fallen asleep by now because we've talked way too much about real estate. I want to get more into your background. There's a lot of habitual things that you're doing, right? Next week, turn 30. It's a big 3-0 next week.
Soon. I think it's the 20th. I know it's the 23rd, which is maybe the week after, but coming up.
And honestly, we're talking in past anyway. So like 3 months ago, turned 30. There's this like where you've gotten to. I'm reading the book. I always say this backwards, so I'm probably saying it backwards. It's The Gap and the Gain. And right now, I'm at this section in the book where it's encouraging you to look backwards 10 years ago and look at the successes and build them up. I was reflecting this morning because of the book, and I was like, okay, 10 years ago I was 15. I was a freshman in college, or freshman in high school, not even college. What am I doing?
As a little genius.
Yeah, 15 freshman in college. That's what you get when you don't go to college. Freshman in high school, and it like said, write down what your priorities were at that time in that headspace. And I said, being the best swimmer possible was the obsession, which girls I could take out, and how much I could not do the homework in the class that I'm in right now. Those were the three things on my mind. It was not earning money. It was not buying real estate. And it had nothing to do with that. And it was cool to be like, that was only 10 years ago where I'm at now. I'm now a dad. I'm a husband. I own real estate. Obsessed with earning money and building wealth, and also having a positive attitude in life and building relationships and helping others break into real estate. And I was like, I love this. I want to hear it from Tyler, like 20-year-old Tyler, going to Indy, not Indianapolis, saying that's where I went, going to Olivet University. What is the transformation that went from education to obsessed with real estate? And I don't even know if I want that. I want more of, how do you go from a safety net to being an entrepreneur and listening to that little voice that says, go be an entrepreneur, Tyler?
Well, I did not think I would be an entrepreneur at 20 years old. Not at all. Entrepreneurship found me through habits and relationships. When I was 20 years old, I was much more in a scarcity mindset. Yeah, sure, my parents did well and had a safety net. But me personally, I was not great at making money. Didn't have this crazy high school hustle, college hustle that I was making tons of money as a entrepreneur. I was on the opposite path, which was I started in college as an economics major because I did love learning about markets and wealth building, although I wouldn't have maybe framed it up that way. But then realized, oh shit, you have to get a master's degree, be a professor in this path. I don't want to do that. I don't want to stay in school my whole life. So I was like, all right, what is something I can at least have security and a job, which was history teacher. And it came from a place of scarcity. Literally, I have nothing else to do. I don't know what to do. Get a job. Go the safe route.
That's
Public education.
So interesting how it goes from the attitude today, because I know that's not truly the attitude that you have today, but I can see how it was in the past.
And not to cut you off, but I'll share like the big inflection point was I did have a really good role model in my life, which was my dad, who was going through a crazy growth mindset change in his late 30s, early 40s, became an entrepreneur at age 45, started 2 different businesses, started consuming content, Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, all these, Benjamin Hardy, who wrote The Gap and the Gain. He shared a book with me that I read when I was maybe like 23, which was Personality Isn't Permanent by Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah. That's next on my bookshelf.
Phenomenal read as a 20-year-old. I also read The Defining Decade. All of it, like, gave it to all the seniors or something. And it was actually a really good book. Those 2 books put me on a path of thinking less of security, blend in, and more, how do you set yourself up for a thriving 30s?
Right.
So I became obsessed with the idea of investing to create an awesome decade later. Funny story, though, is like you actually get enthralled with the process now when you start to do those things.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I would say the only natural thing I did have going was the physical habits were really important to me, because I just like the way I felt when I worked out. I liked the sharpness that you felt mentally and physically from that. So I realized, okay, when you start reading and start doing these things, whether it's real estate or investing, you can take that gym attitude. The gym is kind of a microcosm for life. You can go in and rip your biceps apart. They grow back stronger, and do that again and again. And you see that physical change. Well, this is a little more hazy, but it's the same thing. Everything we were just talking about the past 30 minutes in real estate is the same thing. Yeah. It's just maybe doesn't look and feel, it's not as physically jarring, right, the changes.
There's not a bench press that you can see.
But there are reps.
Lift the weight. But there are 100%
It's the coffee meetings. It's the going to the Roots events. It's the watching the videos and taking notes, right?
So it was a compounding effect over time for you that then helped.
So
build.
Yeah. So like the first, I mean, this is why the reason I became a realtor was not because I thought I was going to be some luxury agent and impress people with my Cadillac Escalade, like the stereotypical agent in $1 Million Sunset, whatever you call that show. It was because
don't actually sell any real estate, just look up their Zillow profiles.
It was because I love the process of buying my first home and becoming the owner of an asset, because I changed. I worked on the weekends on my house instead of getting drunk at the bars. And then later saw the value of that and was like, damn, if I can do that with my own home, maybe I can help others do that and have a career.
Yeah.
So it literally was the compound effect. I love that someone said this. It's not like about habits. It's more about the compound effect, which is a weird way, because you have to do the habits to get the benefits of the compound effect. But the compound effect is, in essence, start small, stack wins, which you have a small domino that leads into a bigger domino, which leads into a bigger domino.
Yeah.
So you start by cleaning up your bedroom, reading a book, which leads into buying your first home, cleaning up your house, which leads into starting a business. You actually do see that in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like you have to have the small wins to the medium wins to the bigger wins. By age 50, I know I'm going to have probably millions of dollars to steward. Not out of selfishness and pride. I just think I will have had to take the responsibility to have those type of assets. Yeah. Same for you.
No, and I believe that. I was reviewing a clip from Nate Spiegel's episode that we did, and he was talking about, just get the fuck up in the morning. And if you
popped off, people resonated with that.
Because if you get up and you're actually going out there and doing the thing, there's no reason why you won't get the win that you're after. Lazy people don't get wins. And yes, you can reframe that to like stay up late because you're going to keep grinding. But I truly believe that, the 5 a.m. club is a club for a reason. Yep. It's a club of billionaires because that's what it exists for. When you were talking about, I think that I always ask that question, and I probably did on the first internal episode that we recorded, is because I'm like, how do you go through that mindset shift on a long term? For me, it was like a cosmic wreckage of losing athletics and the ability to do athletics. And it was like, oh, that was my path to college. I'm only going to swim, right? That's the only reason that I want to be at a university. I don't care about the education piece of it. And that was my obsession at the time. Like I said, reflect 10 years ago, it was girls swimming and, how to flunk this class. It wasn't actually good habits. When I lost swimming, it made me create those habits because I lost my safety net, right? If for your entire life you're obsessed with like, okay, I'm going to go to the Olympics, I'm going to be able to be a professional athlete, and that's the way, the like direction, that's my next step in the horizon, that's what you do. But you lose that, and you're like, oh, shoot, where do I go? What do I do? Which side hustle school, you brought this up, your dad's non-for-profit that he's working on, and I'm obsessed with it, very immersed in it. Tomorrow going to be leading at Avon, and I love the opportunity to get in front of high school kids and talk about entrepreneurship, because when I reflect back on my senior year, that's all that it was, trying entrepreneurship. I started a company called Simple Co. It was a t-shirt brand, had a lawn mowing company called, I don't even know, give me money and I'll mow the grass.
And you probably felt like you weren't making much progress. I mean,
I wasn't
at the beginning.
No, I was just annoying people.
It's cool
losing money.
Same thing. I wanted to start this garden bed. I made these garden beds that you could pick up. They were wooden. And I was like, I made a website. I sold one to my uncle. And I was like, I'm never doing that again. It was like slaving away for like 5 hours to make $90. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But building the website, getting the sale led to Roots Realty.
Right.
If I didn't do that,
I absolutely did.
You gotta basically jump in the pool and drown and tread water a little bit before you're swimming like a champion.
Yeah. And I had one person in my life that was ahead of me, just a little bit ahead of me, that had a media company that had taken the leap, moved out to LA and was doing the thing. And before he left, he had graduated high school, and like that, you can, if you have enough credits, you can graduate in December or whatever. And for 6 months, everybody was like, he's not going to college. Why did he graduate early? Why is he's not furthering his education? But he was grinding behind the scenes, building a media company that's worth like millions now. And it's really cool to see. But he said one thing that stuck with me. He said, why go to college when there's a Barnes & Noble up the road?
Wow.
Makes no sense. Why would you go to college?
Right.
Because I can go into Barnes & Noble and spend $25, buy a book, and learn an entire semester's worth of course material there. So I went home, ran into the living room, and I'm like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to Barnes & Noble. And my parents were like, huh? What?
0 to 100.
Right. Because it made sense.
Yeah.
Like you just pick up the books and you educate. For me, I had that cosmic switch, had somebody where I was like, all right, I'm going to go try it. Tried like 17 different side hustles. None of them stuck. And wound up getting to a point where I'm like, oh, real estate, it makes sense, and never looked back. And that's where we are and how we got here.
Real estate is the dumbest entrepreneurs can get rich in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could buy a property overpriced and in 10 years be a millionaire, maybe not a millionaire, but have lots of equity.
Right.
It's super easy to mess up and still win because everyone needs a home.
Time cures all.
Yeah, time cures all. And land is a scarce asset. The fundamentals are just that's why I'm in real estate too. I didn't know how to make the next Tesla or the next Amazon. You talked about this episode 1.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
That seems so risky and ludicrous to me, but real estate, it's like, I can sell homes. Everyone needs a home. I can invest in homes. Everyone needs a place to live.
Yeah, it's only way that I could feel confident not having a W-2 job was knowing that I just sat and figured out how to make the next Dyson vacuum, figured out how to make my product a verb in people's houses. I love the obsession with how Dyson became what it is today.
Shout out to the founders episode with Dyson.
Yeah, that is an amazing episode. The book is even better. And I personally say often, hey, I'm going to Dyson. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know how to create that though. And you need the company name, right? You need to be able to do it, to have you have to have the it moment.
Yeah.
But you're also going to have sacrifice in abundance and go out and be able to earn the last thing selfishly I want, because most people don't ever get to this far in the episode. I just want the clip to be able to share with team members coming into our company what a day in the life for Tyler looks like. And I don't need we can bounce back and forth because I'm pretty sure that our days look awfully similar.
Work.
Right. And I know for me, it's the habits in the morning that mean the most. So I would love to. How's your morning start?
Yeah, I don't know how deep you want to go in terms of brushing teeth. I'll skip past some of the minutia, but when I was 27, I started a daily devotional and prayer habit.
Yeah.
And I'm the type that I have to have a structured habit. Otherwise, I'll get busy relying on myself, never speak to the highest power, God. So I had to build that into my day.
Right. You'll be knees deep in a newsletter all of a sudden.
Yeah. I actually, it's pretty bad. I am giddy to start work or work out. So I have to sacrifice that first 30 to an hour. So what I do is I'm going through Acts right now. I just finished John leans into Acts. So I'm reading a chapter of the Bible. Then I'm reading Oswald Chambers' Utmost for His Highest, amazing devotional. It has 365 days. Then journal prayer, and then that sets me up for the rest of the day. Number one, I could end the day there and die and be fulfilled. So number one, there's that. And then going into, I don't know how deep you want to get into that. I can circle back to that. But then going into, I have to work out next because I'm the type of person at 5 p.m. I don't want to do burpees and run.
I don't even know how gyms are in service at 5 p.m.
These people are doing that. I'm like, that takes more balls than I have. I don't want to do that. I want to relax and eat dinner and talk to my family.
One of the only reasons I won't do the 75 hard.
Yeah, it's freaking hard. That's why they call it that. So I'll go to the gym and I rotate between lifting and running. Running is accessible. You can do it anywhere. Treadmills are ubiquitous now that it's freezing outside, or you can run outside. And I just like doing the mixture. Cardio, I say, if you want to look good, lift. If you want to feel good, run. Or do cardio, same thing. So I'll do one of those two. By then, and then maybe I'll sauna if I'm at the gym, or have a sauna at my house too. So by then, I'm like, dude, I'm already on the highest mountain peak ever by like 8 a.m.
Right.
So then...
and then his co-founder texts him one text and he's completely down into the dumps.
No, then it does go into a cyclone of business after that, which that is where the struggles begin, is actually getting too bogged down into a deal that's going haywire, or we have a problem with roots. It's fun, but that's actually when you do the Elon Musk thing. Elon Musk, 52 weeks a year, solves the hardest problem in his business 52 times. He goes to the front line of the conveyor belt, talks to the engineer, and then next week does the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what we do with Roots. Yeah. Okay, we have a problem with this podcast is getting 70 views. I want it to get 1,000 views. That's literally my problem right now, is like, okay, I'm texting 25 people each episode saying subscribe. That's the difference between us and some random team. Like, we actually go straight to the problem and fix it.
Right.
Not to toot our own horn, but like, it is the truth. We do that. And so it's going straight to the problem that needs fixed. It's the highest leverage problem. So in early 2025, I do have to make money. I like to make money the first 6 months to have a really chill last 6 months and focus on high level expansion, fun, big picture stuff from like July to December. So I very rarely work that hard in December, the holidays and stuff. I take that time to recharge. So right now I am doing heavy lead generating and prospecting. Like, I'm trying to sell one new group duplex a month. So texting people, emailing people the value, calling people, going to showings is my day-to-day. That will switch by August. It will be getting into the lab with you and being like, okay, how can we 10x Roots? Who can we bring on the podcast that's fire? So it'll change, but it's solving the highest leverage problem. So every day looks vastly different right now. But then by the evening time at 5 p.m., I put my phone, 5:30, 6-ish, put my phone in another room, have dinner with my wife, take care of my son while she's cooking, get some quality time with him for at least 30 to 45 minutes. We clean up. I'll watch him take a bath, support my wife. He goes to bed. Guess what? Work's not over. Back on the phone, back on the emails, tying up the rest of the day. laying out the close for tomorrow, writing on the journal. Okay, I didn't send this guy a follow-up. I didn't tell Max this. I have a journal that's like constant to-do list, which is separated between big picture. I have big picture things, which are what moves the needle for the company. And then small picture, I call it tactical to do, which is, it's a list of names. I'm not going to read these names because that'd be awkward, but like I literally have names of people that in 6 months will have closed on a property.
Yeah.
Because I took the time to value that.
You're on Tyler's hit list.
No, right? And some of those
He
are
has your name circled on his wall.
but those are opportunistic moments in these people's lives where they have the cash, they have the equity, and they want to make moves. So it's letting that platform take shape, right?
No, you're manifesting for them by writing their name down.
It's always their choice. In real estate, sometimes it's like, are you going to sell me a home when I don't want to? No one who's wiring $50,000 is doing it because they don't want to.
Yeah.
But guess what? You do have to have a relationship that says, I value you enough to know you can do this.
Yep.
And that's what we do. It's the best job in the world. So it's stewarding people's time, energy, and resources to invest in real estate, which is a super privileged job. I think it's literally as important as maybe not being a pastor, but like it's pretty important. And you can do it with that level of intentionality, or you can be the sleazy salesperson that burns bridges and then is out of the business in 5 years. But all the best real estate agents I know are actually really good people.
Right.
I'd be friends with them.
It's really good people that are in flow with their clients. I have two people that like they're on my list, and I need to just get a phone call with them because I keep hanging out with them just as friends because they're relationally. But I know that they're going to buy a house this year, and
people gravitate to who they're friends with,
right? But like low key, they maybe could call this little agent because I haven't jumped on it enough.
Oh man, and it happens, and that's like. But I do want to ask you a different question, or you can answer that one.
No,
I'm also fascinated with the struggles of an entrepreneur. Nick Bear has recently he's one of my role models. He has a supplement company, does a ton of content, really good content on fitness and building business. Anyways, he on his podcast started talking about his like struggles of like home life, balancing home life, ego, even like just sharing like raw stuff about being an entrepreneur. He's like, it sounds sexy, but let me tell you how hard it is.
Yeah. And
I'm curious for you, what do you struggle with? I mean, from the outside looking in, it's like Max is crushing it. He's got a ton of money. It looks like sold a crap ton of real estate, has investments, has a kid. What is the struggle?
Yeah, I mean the struggles are vast. They're daily. They're short. And they're quick. And what I mean by that is being an entrepreneur is having the skin to have what to most people would ruin their year, ruin 10 minutes. And that's it. Move on with my day.
Dang.
Somebody takes me off, somebody disrespects me in whatever way.
Which you've had your fair share of.
And I go, oh man, that sucked. How do we not do that next time? And I hop on the phone with the individual and I go, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like what you just did wasn't great. That wasn't the way that I do business. That wasn't the way that I want to engage in a relationship. And here's how I'd like to do it next time. Whether that's a lender, a property manager, an employee, a whatever. And we get over it. Or sometimes I go, I can't talk to that person right now because I'm not going to be nice. And I just move on past it. But that's taken a long time to get over. What that used to look like was destructive, like within my marriage, because I would come home and I would wear the skin of being ticked at whoever. And I would just vent and unload. And I realized that venting actually does not solve any problems. It is just as bad as gossiping, right? Which damages and causes more problems because the wound's still open. So just trying to address things head on.
What does that habit look like in the moment by moment?
Yeah. For me, it has been a struggle between reactive and proactive. So, I mean, I'm a systems oriented guy. That's the whole reason why we partnered is because you're the opposite of a systems oriented guy. And I've tried to put systems in your life to make it easier. And you've also brought into my life just going after the thing and having that idea spark and then putting the pieces together. So for me, being that I have that more rooted in systems, I try to make everything a proactive action. So sometimes that looks to other people like I'm doing way too much work because I'm reviewing everything that goes out, reviewing all the things in the back end before it goes live. But the worst thing that I would want to happen is like something is published from Roots or something, an agent, because I don't really work with buyers directly anymore. I have a team that can help buyers way better than I can.
Right.
Hand selected and
You
grown
get
up
the
those
insight
agents.
that we have with someone who has bandwidth.
Right.
It's a win.
And so there'll be times where those agents go on a showing and they say something that maybe isn't what they should say. And instead of being reactive to it, I try to be proactive. So like those agents are trained to go, yo, I just told this person that like maybe they shouldn't do a sewer inspection. You should call them and be like, hey, Kyle's never called me and said this. That was a random example, but I'm just going to use Kyle's name.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle's an idiot. He needs to do, you need to do a sewer inspection or whatever it might be.
Maybe that was Tyler that said him that.
Yeah. But the indirect way to answer is to put the right people in place to diffuse bombs. And so when I get a problem, it's usually like the mega bomb that is about to go off. And I turn into, like the bomb people that come in the mask.
You're diffusing the mega bombs.
Right.
Whereas other people are doing the small. But that gives you the capacity. I'm learning a lot in this conversation. I mean, because whenever you get bogged down in a small bomb diffusing situation, it reduces your capacity.
It does.
To do the big bombs.
Right. And for example, like somebody showing up 5 minutes late to GNC, like that's a worry that I have every day. I could worry about that all day long. Like, ooh, man, he didn't show up. And I scream at him on the phone to get there on time. He's going to get there next time. No, the reality is I'll just fire the guy the second time that he does it and go hire somebody else because they're replaceable at that store. I've never had to fire anybody at GNC because I know that that's my attitude towards the store. And I don't know, just having like, that's my system. That's my protocol.
Well,
and they know the protocol.
Yeah. I'll share something today. I had Lily, who manages my properties. She manages properties internal. And we had a faucet break on a unit. And I know there's people that could have let that take half their day.
Right.
Of like, what are we going to replace it? Should we replace the part? Should we get the whole thing? It's $139. I said, replace the whole thing. It's $139. Send me 3 options from Lowe's. I'll pick one. And then the plumber wanted this one. She wanted this one. I was like, we're doing this one. It's over. Done. Put it away. And okay, my cash flow on unit A of 22415 Broadway is gone for a month. It doesn't matter, right? You have to, that's a 10-minute, 5-minute problem.
Right.
2-minute problem even.
And that
shouldn't take too long.
I love that you say that because the one person in my life that knows to remind me when I'm being silly over a 2-minute problem and making it a 2-hour problem is my wife. And there was a real example recently, and I mentioned it on the Indy podcast. I maybe talked about it on like 7 episodes here because it was bothering me. I didn't want to replace a stupid furnace at my rental property.
It did come up a lot.
And I prolonged it and kept having the people go out to change the furnace filter, change the batteries, do all the things.
Because it went against your expectations.
I literally accumulated $1,000 in tech fees for the stupid furnace that I should have replaced a month earlier.
And that's what Nick Giuliani says. When you know there's a problem in your rental, do it immediately. Don't think about it. Don't look back.
Yep. And I'll forever do that.
Most people don't have the thick skin to be able. Most people don't have the thick skin to do any of this crap. I mean, it plagues me daily. It's not easy, right? It's a lot of money, and you're kind of like, oh, I should sell it. And I know family members who fire sold their properties because they thought the sky was falling in 2022.
Right.
And it's like they could have held on and it'd be worth 10% more, and they would have replaced that furnace and made $15K from the 4K replacement and holding it.
Right.
And it's just not easy. They say like, if you own stocks and you look at it daily, like you'll never make $1 in your life because you'll want to sell every 5 seconds.
Right. Because it's just up, down, up, down, up, down. But my wife is the one person in my life that knows if I'm allowing a 2-minute problem to become a 2-hour problem, meaning something small, making it way bigger than it is. She looks at me and she goes, replace the furnace. You're being an idiot. Like you have the money to do it. Yeah. She'll first ask, are we going to go broke over the furnace? And I go, no. She goes,
you can't sell without a furnace either.
Is the person sleeping actually at night without any heat? And I'm like, Potentially, they haven't said
Yes.
that, so I don't know if I believe them. But
They are. They have a portable space heater that they're surviving on,
and 7 blankets that are all like as thick as a bear, and they're
and that's
still
the
shivering.
thing that we haven't touched on enough, which is the tenant resident side.
Right.
I am now realizing if you treat your tenants well, you'll make up tons of capital expenditures that you could have fretted over, taking a week to get quotes. Just replace the damn thing, and they're not going to be vacant.
Right.
And a month or two later.
Yeah. And the furnace was never off for a night. If it was, it would have gotten replaced. I was limping the thing along. But the way that the tenant resident part that you bring up, as an owner, my one mission is to treat long-term rentals as if they're a hotel stay. And what I mean by that is if you're ever at a Hilton and the power goes out, they're going to do something dramatic to like ensure that the power doesn't go out, right? They might just go and like fly up to the sun and connect some bolts up there to make it, or steal power from the guy next door, because it's a hotel. And if something drastic happened, you would be compensated for it. And the reason that that's been brought into my life is because my first apartment flooded and they left me there with mold. And I'm like really allergic to mold. And they just left me living in the apartment.
Wow.
And that's what made me buy a house. I was like, I don't want to ever be out of control anymore. I had a plumber come and look at the unit. I was ready to just fix the thing because I was so fed up. And I was at an apartment building.
And that happens to a lot of people who rent.
And so for me, I was like, when I am the guy raking in all the cash, I will treat people kindly. And I will treat people like they're humans and like they're staying at the Best Western, and give them that Best Western service.
I've never thought of it that way. It's dealing with tenant issues is admittedly my least favorite part about being an investor. I'm just going to be really honest. It's not something I take tons of joy and pride in. Oh, I'm the best superhero landlord. I hired someone else to literally take care of it, to get on the phone for 2 minutes instead of 45 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? To buffer. So you have to have those systems. But the moral of the story is,
I was going to say, I think I have the self-management, and I still am on the phone probably less time than you are because I have the systems.
Right. But I think the way to tie a bow on that is like you simply can't be a shitty landlord and stay in this business for a long time. You'll pay some sort of repercussion. Maybe not immediately monetarily.
Yeah.
You try to save $1, you'll lose 100.
Yeah.
It just happens to everyone. We've seen too many burnt. Literally, I saw a reel yesterday in Indy. Steve Lehman, shout out. He was at a burnt down property that had squatters. There was a ghost PM company, not going to name names, that was managing it, taking care of the problems. They let squatters get in. They lit the place on fire.
I have to follow Steve Lehman now. I don't think I do.
They torched the place. And this thing is like,
stories.
Who knows if insurance will cover it due to negligence? I'm not sure. But they've literally lost probably $300,000 with that unit. I mean, it was torched. And it's an extreme example, but it happens.
Right.
To people all the time that don't, like, yeah, I might not love to get on the phone and talk life with my tenants, but I swipe the damn credit card immediately once it needs to be swiped.
Right. And that you
job.
identify the problems and go through all the proper channels to do so, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you're not going to fix a faucet that's working and just to upgrade it. But
you have to make those hard decisions, right?
Yeah.
And trade-offs. Like, yeah, we're running a business, and if the business fails, I don't want to be an investor anymore. Houses aren't managed, and the whole economy goes to crap.
Right.
Right? That's what you see in California. Nobody wants to be an investor there. Huge housing problem.
Yeah.
Huge housing problem. So, I mean, they only own it because they know it's going to be worth $1 million. They don't own it for the cash flow there. They're losing thousands of dollars on these assets.
Yeah.
It's honestly crazy.
Because at the end of the day, you buy dirt, and dirt is what is all of the investment. And that's that gets into a lot of macroeconomics, but I think the way in which I approach being a real estate investor is the same as a business owner, is the same as a husband, is like you show up, be a good person, and dividends will pay long term. So never trying to save $1, always trying to get the 100. I think you said save $1, lose 100. You're gonna give me the 100 if I save the $1.
We'll take us and our listeners. We'll take the 100.
2 plus 2
I do
equals
want
4.
to transition into. We have not at all talked about how listeners can actually like take action.
Yeah,
with us. Like,
ever.
Yeah, we love to make these, but we're not just doing this to get on the mic and spout out soliloquies.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to share, like, what should listeners do that want to take action and take the next step with.
I think it's similar to what I said on the phone with John Smith earlier today that wasn't ready to buy. And that's the best place to take action with us if you're local is to just go to rootsrealty.co/investor-events. I believe.
It's just events now.
It's just events. Thank God.
But you can just go to rootsrealty.co
and then
press
click events. Yeah, it's not that complex of a website. Or it'll be linked below. Come to our masterclass events. Happy hours are great. Happy hours are great to get there, have a beer, and introduce yourself to people. If you're somebody like me, and if you're going to go to the happy hour event, you're going to grab a beer and sit on the wall and not come out and talk to people, or like act like you're not at the event because you're antisocial. Not antisocial. I'm just an introvert. But I would say the masterclass is probably better for you because at some point during the event, you're going to get to sit in a random chair next to somebody.
Right.
And that's where you can one-on-one talk to people.
Right.
Those happen quarterly. And we have them all planned out for this year.
Yep.
I'm pumped for those.
And even if you're not in Indy, like we have multiple out-of-state investors that fly in
for the masterclass.
They'll go to see some homes. Yep. They'll come to a masterclass. I think that's a great way to get educated.
It's a perfect time to get off of an airplane in Indy, have the 15-minute commute to Gugman Haas, which is all that it is. You can get an Uber if you need, and then drive for dollars on the next day and fly out on Friday. So Thursday's event, fly out on Friday, but you get to drive for dollars and go to Christian Park, go to Little Flower, go to all these places that we talk about. Happy hours happen every single month, usually the third Thursday, sometimes the fourth Thursday. Just check our website for when they are, or to show up at Refinery 46 and a nice guy named Cam will tell you that there's not a happy hour if there isn't. Another place and another way to engage is we do have an investor course. It's like $97. Use code MAX15 so I can get the commission for it, and it'll be $75. And what you'll find behind that paywall is a course that breaks down every single area and all the terms that you need.
Yep.
You need to take that course before you buy your first home, I think, to understand investment.
You'll be vastly ahead of every first-time home buyer.
Right.
For $75.
100%.
Hugely worth it.
The last and most important way, I think the most important education you can get from Tyler and I is by way of our newsletters. Yep. Both of our newsletters are full of info. Absolutely. Like they're my proudest thing that I publish. Mine goes out weekly. Tyler's goes out whenever Tyler Press Live, which I think is weekly. Bi-weekly. I never know. I just see it in the inbox and I read every single one.
It's supposed to be bi-weekly on Thursday. Holidays and all.
Yeah.
So lagging a little bit.
I'll put the subscribe links down below if you're not already subscribed to those. We have over 1,500 people that read them, that love them. Promise we won't spam you with just real estate deals. That's not our flow or our jam.
I mean, the reality is we're droning on, so hopefully people are still with us.
Yeah.
And they haven't left.
Retention went.
The infomercial is almost ending. No, but for real, I think people will be listening that want to take value. The interact with us. Like the people that buy in realize, they're real people. Yeah, I can text and call.
Yeah,
they're not Mr. Beast, right? We are not like we have accessibility. And you said that we'll give everyone 30 minutes.
Yep.
When you see the call button on Max's newsletter, book a call.
Yeah,
he'll take it and you'll learn something.
It might end up being 7 minutes because I'll realize in 7 minutes that I know exactly what to tell you because it's exactly what you should go do. Which I know that guy got off the phone with me today and was like, booked all the events and I'll be there and was hype, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to tell him to go talk to Renato Lima.
We'll give you a next.
Pre-approved.
I say our process is like
we'll give you an actionable next step.
Set up a call, an action step.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's come to a masterclass. Sometimes it's, dude, call this mortgage lender. You're ready to freaking go. Why are you on the sidelines?
Yeah.
And you can choose if you want to go or not, you know?
Yep. And I think that's the most important step is to engage and to take what feels like daunting or wasting time. Could potentially feel that way. It's not. We love it. We love being able to engage with people. My Calendly has parameters so that you're not wasting my time, I promise. And it might be a month until you can get on the phone with me. And I apologize because baby Grayson is way more important than you are. And bath time is fun. So with that note, scrubby dub tub and peace.
Peace.